Hey, this is Wesley Todd with Florida Prison Consulting. I'm here to answer a big question for a lot of people. People have far too much trust for the American justice system. And the question I'm being asked is, are there innocent people in prison? And I would say far, far too many. One classic story is about the owner of Brach's Candy, the heiress, a lady, beautiful lady. She she was the heiress. She was a multi-billion-dollar heiress of Brach's Candy, and she was dating these mafia guys. They owned the American Wildlife Refuge or something, one of these big nonprofits that everybody donates money to. This guy was dating her, and then while she was dating him, she signed this. He just dated her for the money, and he got her to sign some sort of a donation contract that she was going to donate X amount of dollars per year to the foundation. But then, in the case of her death, she would leave the foundation millions upon millions of dollars. So then, shortly afterwards, she met my friend Mr. Smith, and Mr. Smith immediately, wanted to marry her, and he flew to Florida to actually get together. They were going to get on a boat and they were going to sail around. It was going to be a beautiful ordeal. And suddenly, before he even came in contact with her, she disappeared. Completely disappeared without a trace. No body, no evidence, no nothing. So the courts were desperate for, who to pin this charge on, and they pinned it on Mr. Smith. Meanwhile, they didn't have a body, and you say that's not possible. Well, it is possible. They pinned it on Mr. Smith with no body. They took him to trial. They railroaded him. They gave him life in prison. Now Mr. Smith is in his 90s. In his 90s in Coleman. Everybody knows he's innocent. Everybody. Here's the crazy part. Mr. Smith's nephew owns the Christian Broadcasting Network. Several years ago, when Obama was president, the real killer actually came forward and confessed to the killing, told exactly what he did with the body, everything. There was a 4-page story in the Chicago Tribune about the real killer coming out, and it was a 4-page confession in the Chicago Tribune. So the nephew, he reached out to Obama and he said, look, we've known my uncle was innocent all these years, but now, you've got the real admission from the real killer. Like, it's all the evidence you need. You need to let my uncle out of prison. Immediately, the FBI swarmed the Christian Broadcasting Network's building. I think it was in Key Largo, Florida. And, they told the nephew, they said, look, if you try to get your uncle out of here, we will destroy you. We'll shut you down. We'll close you up. We'll take you out. Leave your uncle alone. Don't talk about him, nothing. So, meanwhile, he's in his 90s now, completely innocent, sitting in federal prison. And this isn't the only case. This is just a classic example. I know of literally hundreds upon hundreds of people that are innocent sitting in prison. One of the Fed's favorite tricks is a little word called conspiracy. And so what they'll do is they'll come to somebody, or they'll have a snitch, they'll have somebody somebody might have gotten charges on them or something, and they'll say, well, if you work for us, then, we'll drop your charges, but you got to work for us. So this person you used to know now works for the feds. And they'll come to you and they'll say, hey, you want to buy some drugs? I just got 20 kilos in or something like that. Whatever you do, don't say yes and don't say, let me see it. Even if he says, hey, you want to look at it? If you say the words yes, you just got charged with conspiracy, which carries, you'll easily get 20 years on a conspiracy charge. There was one example of a guy I know. He had just gotten out of prison and he was in a restaurant, and this guy came up to him, somebody he knew, and said, hey, I just got all these drugs. Can you come look at it? Can you come look at it? Like, you want to see it? You want to buy it? He said, no. Then he went in the bathroom and he called 911. He told 911, look, this guy's out here trying to sell me drugs and I'm freaked out. I just got out of prison. So 911 just dismissed it. They just threw it aside. Well, the feds still came after him and charged him with conspiracy. So the lawyer was actually able to pull that 911 call where he had actually called 911 on the person that was trying to sell him the drugs. That is the only thing that cleared his name. I know of so many cases where they get people with conspiracy. Conspiracy, there doesn't have to be drugs. It can all be fake. They call it ghost hope. It can all be fake. There's nothing about it. But the fact that you conspired and you talked about committing a crime, you thought about it, you had intention, and with someone else, that's all it takes. When I was going through my federal case, the investigators actually told me, they said, it all starts with one phone tap. Like the feds might have tapped your phone, and then what they do is they tap every single phone that contacts your phone, and then phones that contact those phones. So in the end, they've got thousands and thousands of phones tapped, and it's crazy. But whatever you do, don't think that because you're innocent, you can't go to prison, because you definitely can go to prison innocently. I know of so many cases I can't even tell you. The biggest thing is don't piss people off. Just live a good life, live honestly, and don't cause people to be envious of you. Don't cause people to be jealous of you. If you get one federal agent upset at you for any reason, it could be IRS, it could be DEA, it could be FBI, it could be somebody you just flip off in traffic. They can literally come after you and destroy your life. You might be a wealthy business owner, you might own a multi-million-dollar corporation. The feds don't care. They would rather destroy your business, bankrupt your entire business, than understand that your business actually contributes to society. They don't care. Like, they really find satisfaction and enjoyment in destroying people's businesses. So if you've got money, don't flaunt it, whatever you do. I know this guy right now, he is a very wealthy business owner, and he's been attacking the Martin County Sheriff's Department here in Florida. He's been making YouTubes about him. He's been just taunting them. He goes in the police department, and he has this cutout of the sheriff, and he posts this, and he pretends like he's giving it interviews and things on camera. It's absolutely ridiculous. He is so fortunate that this sheriff is actually a good Christian guy and not corrupt, because any other sheriff he ever did this to would just call one of his homeboys in the FBI or the DEA or whatever, and next thing you know, guy would be facing life in prison on a whole bunch of trumped up charges. They don't have to be true. They can literally indict a ham sandwich. The feds have like a 99.9% conviction rate, and it's always plea deals. It's hardly ever trial. You cannot beat the feds in trial. It's like literally impossible. You might be able to win in state court, but the feds don't play like that. They've got multi millions of dollars, and it's literally impossible. If they come at you with a plea deal, take the plea deal. Don't try to fight it. This is about how innocent people go to prison. And if you are facing a federal charge, don't think you're just going to go there and beat it because you're innocent, because that is not necessarily the case. If you don't take the plea deal they're offering you, they will give you the max. So they might offer you, let's say, 5 years in federal prison versus, a sentence that carries up to 25 years. If you get cocky and you think, I'm going to take this to trial and I'm going to win, as soon as you lose in trial, they're going to give you 25 years, even though they just offered you 5 years and you turned it down. So I'm just telling you, the federal court systems are nothing to play with. They've got a system, and you don't understand that system. You don't know that system. The only other thing is they are corrupt. Like, there's attorneys you can go to, and they'll tell you, give me $10 million, we'll make all this go away. And they really will. They'll make it go away for $10 million. But, where I'm kind of irritated with the whole thing is, in Mexico, you can do that for 10 grand or 5 grand. Why do you have to pay $10 million in the USA to make things go away? Everybody understands that Mexico has levels of corruption, and they're okay with it. They're okay with paying a $5,000 or $10,000 fine to make some charges go away. But here in the USA, it's on a totally different roller coaster. So, anyways, guys, I just wanted to let you know, yes, to the answer to your question, there are tons of innocent people in prison. I'll give you one more quick story. Joe Maldonado Passage, known as Tiger King. I represent him right now. I'm actually lobbying and fighting for him in his conditions. He's being abused in ways I don't even want to speak about. The conditions of his confinement are insane. He's been vomiting for over 100 days. He can't hold down any food or water. He has to get blood transfusions every 2 weeks. He's been sexually assaulted by staff. I mean, the absolute most horrible things that can ever happen to a human is happening to Tiger King right now. It's very, very sad. And I'm fighting very hard to help him out and hopefully get him a computation or a clemency, compassionate release, something. We're working very, very hard on this right now. Anyways, he had a animal rights activist come after him because he owned the tigers. And she literally put out manuals on how to destroy a zoo.